Welcome to the Got Any Cows podcast. If you want to learn all you can about the beef cattle industry, this is the podcast for you. My name is Seth Christensen. My company has sent beef cattle genetics to 45 of the 50 states and 12 countries around the world. I've had the chance to learn from some of the best and brightest in the beef cattle industry, and I invite you to join me for those conversations here on the Got Any Cows podcast. Well, I appreciate you guys. Jim and Kathy Moore are here with me at the American Akaushi Association Convention, Kansas City, Missouri this year. I appreciate you guys taking the time. You know, Jim and Kathy, I count both of you guys as friends in addition to business associates. I've enjoyed being out to your ranch a couple of times and really appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down with me. So if you guys will, Jim and Kathy, kind of introduce yourselves and give us a little bit of your background, where you come from and how your ranch came to be.
I was raised south of Victoria, Texas, and most of my family had cattle down there or farmed. And I moved to Waco when I was 18 years old to go to Texas State Technical College, and ended up staying there for the rest of my life.
Really? So from McGregor to Waco, remind me, McGregor's home now. And then Waco was where you've been the bulk of your life. How far apart are McGregor and Waco?
To our place from Waco's probably 7 to 8 miles.
Oh, you're right there. They're right next to each other. Okay, gotcha. I should know better. I've been there twice, but I come into Texas, coming out of Idaho. I crossed the border, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm about there. You know, I got another 12 hours to get to where I'm going. You know, so I'm like, it's a big state.
Yeah, it is.
But Kathy, give us a little bit of your background. How did you end up in McGregor, Texas, here with this good-looking fella?
Just lucky. We moved to Waco when I was 2, born in Brownwood, and so I've been there all my life. I never moved away. Went to college at University of Mary Hardin Baylor, just down the road in Belton, about 30 minutes away. So I never went too far, and I just met Jim through work, and then I was a building inspector for the Energy Code, and I guess still am. But anyway, when Jim and I got married, and we raised polled Herefords, and the kids showed polled Herefords.
Okay.
And then we got introduced to the Akaushi, and I think, didn't you first come up with that? Of what Wagyu or Akaushi was?
Oh, I think it was you.
Oh, well, anyway. But
Jim's a smart husband. He said, no, Kathy, that was you.
Yeah.
What a good idea you had there, dear.
But we went to we just didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
We were just introduced to the phrase, and this was about 2014, I guess.
So you'd have been some of the early ones coming in 2014, yeah.
So we went to the Texas Wagyu Association sale in Salado, and just happened to sit down at the table with Jim and Joan Chisholm and Desi, who owned the J.C. Rueshaw 75. And so they were telling us, all about the reds. I said, well, is this, why reds and why blacks and why did you I was just asking a bunch of questions, and they said, well, why don't you come out and look at them,
Yeah.
So we did, and we bought some. The first one was our Rueshaw 122 cow.
That's fantastic. I love how she one of the very first, and still just an incredible donor for you.
It was our favorite, and probably still is our favorite.
Yeah, a wonderful cow.
Yeah. And just went from there, so.
You bet. So you were sitting at the Texas Wagyu Association, kind of chatting with the Chisholms, chatting with Desi Sakali there. At what point in time did you decide, hey, this is something we want to jump into, and why? I guess what made you, at what point did it go from, now this is kind of interesting, like, no, I think we're going to buy one of these, and jump into it and make it happen?
Well, we didn't know how much they cost.
That always helps.
But we were at the auction, and so we saw some that went, it was like, $15,000. We thought, well, as we're getting older.
You guys are only like 25, right?
Right. I'm 29. He's younger than I am.
Yeah.
So, but it would be something to supplement our income, thinking we would get smaller and downsize, and you could have 10 Akaushi and make as much seed stock and make as much money as 50
Right.
commercial cows.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was our thinking. Of course, it didn't work out like that.
Cows do tend to have a way of multiplying.
So we went down to Jim and Jones and
Where are they based out of? Are they right there in Texas? Or
Lockhart, weren't they? Well, Wimberley.
Wimberley.
Okay. All right. So it'd be I don't know how far from you guys.
100,
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Yeah.
about 100 miles.
Okay. So you went up there to their place and to take a look at it.
Yeah,
Yep.
How was that experience?
it was good.
Yeah. And did you end up picking 122, or was she one that they had for sale, or kind of how did that come to be, the 122 cow?
Do you remember?
I think they had her pinned when we got there. I think we'd already talked to them about it, and kind of we were coming to look at 2 animals, and she was one of them. And that's really pretty much the way it happened. We just went for a visit, and then we saw them, and then we went and borrowed money.
Yeah. Right.
At that time they were. Of course, we got a good animal too because we wanted to start off
Good animal.
with the best.
Oh, and you did. I mean,
Because that was our base
Yeah.
herd, and so they told us how much, and we kind of swallowed hard, and
Yep.
and kind of looked at each other and okay, and because we were used to buying cows for $800, and so we talked about it and decided that's what we wanted to do, and
Yeah.
and since then, I mean, we've put cows on credit cards, which was a mistake, but it was that important to us to get the best ones that we knew about, because we knew that was our base herd
Oh, yeah.
that we wanted to
Well,
start with.
I think that's a huge thing that you did that, because I would say the more common approach I end up seeing taken is people buy whatever's cheapest, because it is expensive, right? And it costs a lot to get going, and it's not, cattle as a business traditionally isn't real high margin, and they cost a lot to feed and takes a lot of dirt and a lot of facilities. And there's a lot of need for capital just to make the thing happen. And I'd say a common mistake is as people get in, they kind of just buy whatever's cheap, and start with something lesser. And I think that's a mark of your program. To have started with a female like 122, it's your ad. I can quote right off the top of my head from Wagyu World, because I always see it. Open up Wagyu World, inside front cover. That's the JMK ad, and it's 100% full blood and always the best. And I love that you guys started that way, because that's accurate. I mean, end to end. If you started with a female like 122, that's a top flight kind of female. And holding on to her and that level of quality throughout. And that's one of the things I've always appreciated. And I've come down and visited your ranch a couple of times, and I've loved going through, so appreciate Jim's knowledge of the live animals and the stockmanship he brings to the table and his history in cattle. And then Kathy, your love for the pedigrees and your love for, kind of how to build them. And it's been so fun for me to kind of come down and visit, see those animals, pick your brains, learn from you, and become friends along the way there. I've really enjoyed that. So when you decided, hey, we're going to spend the money it takes to buy a good one, right? To get that 122. What sold you on Akaushi? Like, at what point did you decide it is worth credit card debt or whatever else it takes to make this happen? What was the selling factor on, I guess, Akaushi as a breed for you to finally decide this is worth leaning into to make it happen?
Well, the meat had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And we both just kind of immediately liked it. Liked what we saw.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to start with a cheaper animal. We wanted the best. We wanted to be able to build a big herd. And it worked. So,
And one thing, Seth, we went to HEB. This was before
The restaurant, or not the restaurant,
the
the
grocery store.
Okay, yeah.
And this is before we bought any. And I bought it was New York Strip, HEB had Akaushi, and I don't know if it was full blood or what, but it was Akaushi, or Wagyu. I'm sorry, it was Wagyu.
Okay.
And then they had number one prime. Number one prime was $19 a pound, and the Wagyu was, I think, $29 a pound. And I said, okay, we're going to do a taste test. So we'd never eaten it before. You know, there we were looking at it. We never had eaten it. So I cooked them same way, you know, and I didn't tell Jim which was which. And so we just had a taste test. And it was, you know, the flavor was good on both of them.
Yeah.
But the Wagyu was noticeably more tender.
So that was a big selling factor. And that's a common story I hear when I talk to people. What got you in? It is hard to taste the beef and not want to be in or not want to do it. I used to be able to. Growing up, we'd kind of eat whatever junk we happened to have left over. You know, I mean, the three-legged Holstein steer that wasn't really finished, but, you know, we were out of beef, so we harvested it. And it never bothered me. You know, it was fine. Like, meat's meat, like, you know. And then I put an Akaushi in the freezer, and there's no going back. You know, it's just hands down, it's a better product. And I look at it, you know, as far as just opportunities for the breed going forward at large, for all of us as breeders, that's what led to the success of Angus as a breed in the United States, is the quality of the beef and especially the quality of the marketing effort they put behind it. You know, certified Angus beef, when it comes to marketing and selling volumes of beef, certified Angus beef is king, you know, north of 1 billion pounds of product a year. But what gets me so excited about Akaushi is just what you guys just said there is such a common thing. We say, hey, we tried the beef and it got us to start producing the cattle. And certified Angus beef as a sales model or as a market drove the demand of black-hided cattle, which drove the demand of Angus bulls. And I look at it, and while I don't expect it to be Angus, I breed both Angus and Akaushi cattle. If the quality of this beef is what it is, which it is, I mean, that's the resounding, consistent answer from everybody, it is a superior product. That can drive demand for Akaushi cattle, which drives demand for Akaushi genetics. So I'm excited to see the future of the breed, and I'm grateful for breeders like yourselves that have been in it so early and been so willing to provide education and provide, you know, like I said, a spot for me to learn and people that I trust, you know, because that makes a huge difference. There are people you can trust and there's people you can't, you know, and I definitely count you guys among people that I trust. You know, there's a reason I want to sit down and chat with you. And anyway, jumping back to your story and going back, so you've just picked up 122. What did the build out of your herd look like from there? So it'd be about 2014-ish when you got 122. What was next from there? How did you go about building the herd?
We actually ended up buying 2 animals when we bought 122. The other one's it's the dam of the 66F cow. So she was really good. So we thought to promote these and to get our herd out there, we would show them.
Yeah, yeah.
So we did, and we were pretty successful in the show ring with them. So
yeah,
that really helped us sell our animals and such, because not only did they have good pedigrees and that, they obviously their phenotype was good, because they walked in there and took Grandin Reserve.
Love it. Love it. That's
So,
fantastic.
Yeah. So.
And tell the Mr. Hiromitsu story.
Yeah, please do. I really enjoy the Mr. Hiromitsu story. It's one of the things that convinced me to use the bull. I have Hiromitsu calves at my ranch in part because of my conversation with Jim. So if you would, yeah, tell us the Hiromitsu story.
Well, Bill Fisher, I guess, approached Kathy about, he wanted to show that bull. So he actually gave us half ownership in it to show him. And so we kept him at our house, and we raised him up for show. And he did very well in the show. You know, really nice animal. But that's pretty much how we got into Hiromitsu. Is he wanted him to be showed. So
Well, and one thing, we went out to Bill's ranch.
we spent a lot of time there.
Yeah. And at the time it was, I remember it was between a couple of them, and then you picked out him with Bill, you know, and decided, okay, well, I think that one's going to do good. And so we took him home right after weaning, put him in our corral right in our working pens right by our house. And Jim walked out to him. He was, I guess, 7 or 8 months old when we got him.
Yeah.
He walked out not in the little area, in the big open area of the working pens, put a halter right on him, which,
No restraint.
yeah,
Nothing.
he
They just
didn't
let
pull
me.
back.
You just put the halter on.
Walked him around. You know, he just looks around, and he never gave any trouble at all.
I love
Just
that.
never did.
I love that.
So he went on to win grand champion at Houston, and
Twice.
then
Twice.
yeah, well then he went to the next year. He went to Denver, and he won there, and then we brought him back, and then we took him to Houston again, and he won there his last time as a 2-year-old.
Love it.
So
Love it.
he was, and then Bill took him back after that.
Sure.
But they also put him in the world competition
Oh, yeah.
thing. and
Yeah.
he-
Yeah.
He won that
Yeah.
also.
So he'd have been at a total of 3 national shows then, as far as Denver and twice at Houston. Did he win across all 3 of them? Took
yeah.
grand, and the Wagyu champion of the world competition won that as well. Yeah, just a neat. So prior to Hiromitsu, had you shown a couple of other Akaushi animals ahead of Hiromitsu, or was he the first one that you took through the show ring?
Actually, I think we took a red black.
Yeah, that star of the show.
It
took
was
him.
another one of Chisholm's.
Mm-hmm.
It was a red black Wagyu.
Gotcha.
And I want to say he did good, but I really don't remember.
I think he was reserve. He was a red black though, wasn't he? Or was he red?
He was red black. Yep, he
I
was.
think he took reserve behind. I was going to say Rueshaw 75, but that would not be
No.
correct.
No,
But
no, and
I
you know,
remember we sold him.
showing exposed us to other people's, a lot more people's animals and that, and it helped us,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to get rolling with it and keep our interest in it. And
Right. Right.
more than one reason to be in it. You know, we're going to show them and we're going to
Mm-hmm.
butcher them.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and I think you bring up a great point there, Jim. Like you'd mentioned, the beef is so good, but then that the cattle can go win a show, you know, versus it being, well, the beef's great, but the cattle are subpar, or vice versa, which you see in the industry plenty. The cattle are great, but the beef's just beef, you know, and so to have something that can be exceptional on both fronts, I think is one of the real strengths of the breed. It's what drew me to the breed. You know, I had people ask me for Wagyu for years, and like, I'll eat it, but I'm like, well, I'm not raising them, you know.
Right.
And until I saw Akaushi, you know, and saw that the cattle could be good, in addition to putting that premium steak on the plate, that was what sold me and got me in. And you know, Hiromitsu, to I guess mention, I mean, just looking at him. So he'd be double-bred Katie Maru. So his sire being Uma Maru, who's a Katie Maru son, and then his dam being Katie Maru II, who's a Katie Maru daughter. You know, that's one of the things I have most appreciated about Hiromitsu as an individual, and then now having the opportunity to work with the Katie Maru clone, is like you mentioned, that docility. It is so huge, you know, because as a breed, you guys know just like I do, there can be some that are more nervous or more flighty or have a problem. As with their, you know, there's some issues out there, and it's so neat to get to work with animals like Hiromitsu or like Katie Maru that are just dog gentle, you know, and that's one of the things that most stood out to me the first time I came to your ranch. I had been to a lot of other ranches prior, and I had seen a lot of less docile Akaushi, and coming to your ranch, I remember seeing Jim, walk right up and start scratching on one, and I thought, did I come to the same, is this the same breed I've seen, do some of these other things, and it was encouraging for me because that's a major focus or a major priority for me within my breeding program is to add docility, and seeing what you guys have done in yours, I guess gave me hope it can be done. You know what I mean? There absolutely are well-mannered Akaushi, but you do need to breed them right, and you do need to handle them right. And I think you guys are exemplary on both of those fronts. So from showing Hiromitsu, I guess going forward from there, you'd mentioned kind of getting connected with more people through the shows and continuing to build your network. What did the build out of your herd look like from there?
Well, I mean, it didn't really. We started doing the embryo transfers and that.
Well, we got the ones from Cleason.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we just looked up, some pedigrees that I was interested in, and we saw that Gary Cleason in Kansas had some that I was interested in, and I called him a couple times, and finally he said, "Well, yeah, come on up here and I'll show them to you," So his wife was in a nursing home and went up there, and he was a fun man.
What was it that Gary Cleason called you, Jim?
Oh,
Damn Texan.
yeah. Said, "Hi, Mr. Cleason, how are you?" And
The first
he
thing
looks
out
at
of his
him.
mouth.
He's a damn Texan. But
That's my favorite part of the Gary Cleason story.
he had bought a bunch of embryos from Wagyu Sekai
Uh-huh.
and had gotten some animals, black and red. And he took us on a trip and around his ranch through 9 cattle guards, and then you'll see the barn on the left, and so it was an adventure, and he took us all around. But we ended up buying, let's see, a GK4 and 2 others, GK16 and
14 probably. I don't remember. That's been a while.
yeah,
That was in 2014.
14.
So this is still kind of year one of getting them bought in.
Yeah.
All in that same year.
And
Okay.
so we had that opportunity, and that was great. And a couple of years went by, and we kind of maintained contact, and he ended up actually going into a nursing home and passing away, and so his son contacted us and was offering to buy the rest of the herd. So we did. We struck a deal, and we took the blacks and the reds.
Oh, he had black cattle as
Uh-huh.
well. I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah.
So black and red Wagyu.
Right. And we got them, and then we sold the black ones, and then kept the red ones, and we still have quite a few of them. And they were all very good.
Yeah.
So
They were nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the females that I've purchased from you, many years after you guys made this acquisition from Gary Cleason, would be the GK8 female that I bought from you, would have come from that Gary Cleason group. And it's neat, to see that Naomi maternal line, that is rare and not very broadly distributed in the breed, came down from Wagyu Sakai to Gary Cleason. You guys got the whole herd bought, and then that's been neat for me as I've worked with GK8, to have access to that maternal line, via the acquisition you made clear back in 2014. So you guys did a lot in 2014 then. That was a busy. Were you showing Hiromitsu that same year, or was that after the fact, somewhere later than 2014?
I think it was probably 2016 before.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So we did that before Mr. Hiromitsu.
Okay, gotcha.
But one of those two had the Momi Gimaru. I don't know if I say that right.
Right.
Momi Gimaru. Maru. And that was one of the one, and we still have an animal off of her. Started looking at the maternal lines, and I really wanted to go in that direction, but it was very hard to find.
Right.
So that's when I saw that you had that red rum, and I thought, oh man, we got to do that. So
Yeah, which I'm so excited to see that red. You have a red rum Katie Maru heifer calf that you bought from us as a pregnancy, and I just couldn't be more thrilled that it's you guys that bought her. Because I just am excited to see what you'll do with her. And what directions you'll take her, and a neat individual there for sure. So looking at where, I guess you'd bought the Gary Cleason herd, you'd bought 122, you'd shown Hiromitsu, and that's all still been almost 10 years ago. Even going back to 2016, more than 10 years ago to the first acquisitions. As you guys have gone through that whole period of time of running these cattle, what have been, and there'd be a series of things we'll touch on through here. Some things that you say, this went really, really well, things you're glad you did in the 10 years since. What are things that you'd say, I would do that different, as you've built out your herd and things like that? Any thoughts that come to mind off the top of your head? Maybe favorite moments in that Akaushi journey there, or moments you say, I'd made an adjustment there in hindsight. Unless you guys probably make less mistakes than I do. I have a lot of I'd have done that different moments.
I think challenging for me and us is the marketing part.
Yeah.
That's difficult for us because we're involved in different, businesses. Jim's not. He's full-time rancher, cowboy.
Jim's the genuine article.
Yes,
like when
he
I
is.
grow up, I'd love to be just like Jim.
People want pictures with him. There was a guy at breakfast yesterday that wanted to take a picture of his mustache.
That is a beaut, It's a good one. It's a good one. Mine would be all kind of patchy, kind of hanging off over here or something. But
I think one of our goals, because we have been blessed, we have really been blessed. We've had the ability to purchase some more land, which gave us the ability to have more Akaushi. And, we didn't downsize. We've gotten more. But, it's just, it's building relationships with people. And I think you would agree.
Oh, absolutely.
It's meeting people, not so much helping them because, if you're selling them something, they're actually paying you, but helping them to get started. Jim's always, on the phone. People will call with questions or they'll come by and he'll take them riding around and looking and whether they buy anything or not. And I know they always enjoy talking to him. But it boils down, I think, relationships with people and just sharing some of our blessing that, and with the animals that we have.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think so. One of the challenges that keeps coming into my mind is convincing other ranchers who run different breeds. This one, the meat's great and everything. You look at it, it is something that looks good enough to put on other cattle. Which I don't know if I'm supposed to say black wagyu here, but
I have.
It's really hard to convince a guy to take a bull that doesn't weigh as much as his cows, and the Akaushi looks like an animal that local ranchers would be happy with. They look good. They fit where you put them. Plus, there's always potential to make a little more money with them. A lot of people depend on auction ring for everything. That's their only way to move their animals. Well, this leaves you a little more. You bring your whole herd average price up because your Akaushi did better. So
It's hard.
it's still hard to convince some people that that it's good. They're afraid of it. And I don't want to knock black wagyu too hard here, but that's what they've seen. They haven't
Right.
seen reds.
Right. Yep.
So a lot of folks, once they see them, and then they're okay with it and want to try it. So
You bet. You bet. So, looking at your genetics program specifically for you guys, what are some animals? We've talked about Hiromitsu, that was a really, really good one, and 122, that's been a great one. What are some other cows and/or bulls that stand out? You know, here's a favorite, or here's one I think of fondly. Who comes to mind for you? Some favorite cows and/or donors, and why? Why are they favorites for you?
Well, GK4 is a favorite.
Absolutely.
GK4, Rueshamaru. He's one of the ones that we picked out the first time we went to see Mr. Cleason.
Yep.
His babies are great.
Yep.
His disposition, again, is great. He's Rueshaw by Kitamaru, too.
Exactly.
You know, just great. We bought when Bill Fisher decided he was going to start Legendary, he previously had Saranac Oaks, SOR.
Right.
So he got rid of some animals and embryos when he transitioned into Legendary, and we bought some embryos from him. Part of that embryo group was one embryo from 1998. And we put that one in, I think, in 2018. I think. Didn't check the recip at all. Didn't want to disturb the recip. Didn't want to stress her out or anything. And ended up being a heifer, and which we were thrilled about. And so she was Hikari by J30E. Is that right?
that's a full sister to the 121 and 122's mother.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So she is, and she's a super cow. She's big, and she's
milk.
nice. But the J30E direct daughter is nice. So we flushed her a couple of times.
Love that.
I don't know whether you've seen that cow or not.
I'm not sure if I have seen her. I think we talked about her the last time that I visited. I've seen 122. I'm not sure if I've seen the Hikari J30E or not. But I have seen Rueshamaru, and I'm glad you mentioned him. I mean, the last time I saw him, I believe he was 9 years old at the time I saw him. And man alive, I mean, you sure wouldn't guess he was 9. You know what I mean? I mean, looked just like a 4 or 5 year old bull, thick, holding flesh, sound, great mannered. And I mean, again, just one of those things I appreciate about those Katie Maru influenced cattle. Just great to be around, you know, and super mannered. And I love, you know, looking at that bull specifically being a maternal brother to Hiromitsu, where they're both out of Katie Maru too. Another thought that came to mind on Hiromitsu, I sent John, that's worked with me and run point on production at my place for 6.5 years. I sent him down to Heartbrand once. He was moving some cattle in and out of Texas. I said, hey, stop by Heartbrand. And John doesn't spend the time looking at pedigrees like I do. John knows cattle, but isn't going to spend the time in the pedigrees. I said, hey, go down and look through all the bulls without preconceived notions. I already have in my head which ones I think I'll like or which ones I want. I said, you just go through those bulls and just tell me who the best bull is. You know what I mean? Go look at those bulls and tell me who the best one is. And anyway, he looks at all of them and he says, calls me up and he says, yeah, he says, there's one there that's for sure the best bull in the pen. He says, you know, it was like some name that started with an H. He says, I can't pronounce the name. You know? And I said, well, did you remember the tag? He said, oh yeah, it was 1090, and it was Hiromitsu, you know, and GK4 follows in that same mold as far as just being larger outline, heavy muscled, great mannered. What else do you guys appreciate about him? What are some of your favorite things, I guess, about GK4 and or any other individuals like the Hikari J30E? Any others that come to mind for you, Jim?
No, I mean, we love his calves. They've always done well pretty much on anything we've bred him to, you know. I think he's a one of a kind. I don't think we'll ever find another one that'll perform like him and have that disposition. And he's, we like him. And you wanted to know other bulls?
Yeah, any others that stand out? Bulls, cows, just individuals you think, oh, this is one of my favorites, and why?
Well, the cow we just 122's Dam's full sister, that's one of them that really we like. Mr. Rueshaw, the bull,
Yeah, 233F.
I mean, really is a beautiful animal, and we really like his calves. And we really like his pedigree.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You know,
you bet.
You bring Namamaru into the picture. So when we try to focus on animals that marble well, who make good carcasses, that doesn't always mean they're the prettiest one to look at.
Sure.
But Mr. Rueshaw seems to have both.
Yeah.
GK4, pretty much both. So we got some bulls out of the 122 cow. One of them's a Hanjo by 122. His calves are great, and he's just as docile as the other two. So,
Love that. When you guys are mating cattle, you've talked about some of these individuals and some of what's made them so good. When you're selecting, who are we going to use as donors? Who will we use as AI sires? Which bulls will we turn out? How are you guys going about your selection criteria? What's most important to you when you're selecting these genetics? And I guess what would be your top priorities as you're selecting genetics for you guys?
That's difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is.
On our donor side, we've got so many that I really like, you know. So when it comes to time to aspirate them or to flush them, you know, it's just kind of if they're ready or not. what cycle are they in? Because I want to do all of them.
some of those actually produce a lot of embryos
Yeah.
per flush too, and that we like that part of it too.
Yeah, the one that we sold, the embryos that we sold last night out of the JMK Betty 016G, I believe. She, in one setting, she had 27 number one embryos
Love it.
to Hikari, I believe. Yeah.
To get that going.
We've got
That's a Red
Hikari.
Emperor by 122. I mean, that's nice cow. That's correct.
No, she's Brady by the Fuyuko cow.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
thinking of 35.
Yeah, you are. But there's a, yeah, she does. We flushed her to Katsukari and Hikari.
If you will, maybe one other thing I'd like to hear from on you guys. We've chatted on multiple occasions your auto easy feeders that you've used, you know, and that's been an important part of your nutrition program and just a neat piece of equipment that I had never run into before seeing them there at your place. Walk us through your nutrition program at large. I mean, and I'm sure that's evolved over the years, but what you would say are maybe some key components of your nutrition program and or pieces of equipment like the auto easy feeder that have helped you implement it.
Well, the feed we use is made by Livestock Nutrition Center, and it's I'm not sure, it's about a 12% protein and 5% fat. We've had really good luck with it, but that's what we use in the auto easy feeders most of the time because it flows well, and they don't put anything in it that will run your auto easy feeder.
Right.
So that's a good feed. I mean, we've been using it for 10 years probably. But it's it works good for us. And the feeders, you know, it takes the labor out of it.
Right.
You fill it and walk off from it and just check it when you hear it go off. Go check, make sure it did what it's supposed to do, and you're done feeding. You know, so it just makes the whole process a little more efficient. So we have 7 of them, so we recommend that.
Yeah.
I mean, we like them that much.
Right.
That we kept buying them.
Yeah.
And we partnered with our neighbor Clint Murphy on some of our stuff, and so we put one over on his pasture too, just to help manage time. It's just a time management. It's great.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So as you guys look back at this last 10 years or so that you've been involved in Akaushi, and today we're sitting here at the Akaushi convention, and a lot of the people that are here are either new to cattle or they're new to Akaushi, and maybe they're at where you guys were in 2014. They're just barely getting going. What would you say to any of those people as far as any thoughts in particular that come to mind, things you would recommend, things you would avoid, keys to your success or ways to not have problems? Any recommendations that you would have for people that are right where you guys were 10 years ago?
I think one of them would be, because, we've talked to 2 or 3 people this weekend who are just starting off, and they've asked a lot of questions, and that's good.
Yeah.
Ask a lot of questions and try to figure out the direction that they want and need to go. But with the genetics, start with some of the best genetics that you think, the genetics that you think are best, and start with some of those to start out with.
You bet.
We bought some animals, from Show Me and Legendary, some great animals, and they bought some from us.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get different genetics, and there's good genetics all over. There's some great ones, and just look around and talk to people and see what you want.
You bet. And I think that's one of the opportunities, even just being here at convention, having a chance to sit down at a table with folks, share dinner, catch up, learn who people are, find out maybe who's close to you geographically or who's doing things kind of how you want to do them, who can you learn from. And that's one of the things I've so enjoyed, both in my travels going out across the country to go on ranch with folks, just like I've come to your ranch, but also coming together here at convention is just having a chance to sit down and learn from people and see, hey, how does everybody do it? And I might only take one little piece of how everybody else does it and maybe bring it home and apply it to how we go about things there in Idaho. But I count myself fortunate to have that chance to learn from so many people, and that's what the podcast is all about. People will call me and ask as if I actually knew anything. I say, look, I just know people who do, I'm always learning, and so having a chance to share that with other people that are trying to do the same and trying to educate themselves and find a path forward, that's the whole point of the podcast, and sitting down and like you said, Kathy, finding people and finding people you can learn from and source genetics from and apply what you learned there. And so I so appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down and share some of your story, some of what you guys have learned along the way. Is there anything else in particular, Jim and Kathy, that you'd like to mention or like to throw in before we close that I've not touched on?
Well, it's been really neat having people buy our animals from all over the country, all over, and having them come and meet, and us being able to meet them and develop a relationship with them. And sometimes they come to look at them, sometimes they don't. It's been amazing that people spend the kind of money that they do and not even see the animal yet.
Sure. Yeah.
And we certainly want them to be satisfied with that, so we want to have them in really good health and in a good disposition when we sell them.
Yeah.
But it's we're very, very thankful for all of our customers and relationships.
Absolutely. Jim, anything you'd like to add?
No. Can't think of anything.
Perfect. They say you're a smarter husband than me. A lot of times I'll add something or whatever else, and my wife will tell me, you shouldn't have thrown that in there. Just say amen and to put it that way. It's a good way to put it. Well, I'm so grateful for you guys. Appreciate you guys. Grateful to call you my friends. I've enjoyed working with you, both buying cattle from you and then being fortunate enough to send one back your way, and look forward to continuing to work together to make better cattle. And I wish you guys nothing but the best down there at JMK Cattle in McGregor, Texas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Got Any Cows podcast. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and visit us anytime at gotanycows.com.